No, I'm happy for that. I'm happy
Yeah.
for you, man. We hit a new record month
Thank you.
of 47K, I believe.
Yeah, it was 47,880.
You got that,
So
man.
yeah, it was pretty good. So yeah, I was super skeptical of you, Derek. I was
You were upfront about it.
super skeptical about the ability to deliver. There was even times we were working together. I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is good advice. And like every time you have been right about the advice that it's not things that I would have done, but that's also the reason that I wanted to work with you, is that you knew how to do things that I had no idea how to do. And so things that didn't seem initially intuitive to me, over time ended up proving to be the right thing to do. So that surprised me. I'm really fortunate that I met you, that we worked together. I don't think that I would be in this position that I am now, where I have a business that continues to grow each month, without the advice that you provided. So I think that was probably the biggest thing, is that you really overcame that. The skepticism that I had was not warranted at all, right? So that's what I'd say.
All right, guys, welcome in. We got a special guest today. This is my client, Phil. We're going to be going through pretty much Phil, his business, what he's been doing the past couple months, where he's at right now, and just trying to really dissect his business, kind of figure out what made it work. Because there's a lot of people who are going to be watching this video that are going through specific pain points, specific problems. And I guarantee you, me and Phil have both gone through them, but at the same time, we've surpassed them. So we really want to make this as a service to you guys, so we can figure out how to help you guys and get you guys through those pain points and just get you to whatever that goal may be. But without like talking any more, this isn't about me, this is about my man, Phil. Phil, could you go ahead and introduce yourself and kind of just talk about what you do?
Sure. Yeah. My name's Phil, and my company is FixFinder, and so I got started with this at the beginning of the year. So it's now October. I had one client that it was my family, and they said, "Oh, like, can you help me with like Facebook ads?" And that just ended up being quite successful. So, I think in the first like 5 weeks or so, it was like 55,000 in additional revenue. So it was a little like flooring company. So they're like, "Oh, wow, like this is way more like the work than we can really handle." And so I was at like a home show and stumbled into a roofer just by chance. And he said, "Oh, like, here, like, you're generating a lot of like leads for your business. Do you think you can do like roofing leads?" And at the time, I didn't think that I could. Like, I knew that roofing was super competitive, and that doing the same type of stuff that I was working for me on Facebook, I wasn't sure if it was transferable to the roofing niche. So I quoted him like what I thought was pretty high on just paper appointment, booking appointments to his schedule, like I was doing with my family, because they didn't want to deal with leads. They just wanted appointments. So, and if the appointment no showed, they wanted that rescheduled. They didn't want to deal with them themselves. So I just offered basically the same service that I was doing for my family, for this other client. And so I just got really lucky that the very first, like the three appointments that I booked him, one was like a huge sale. And so he was like, "Okay, like, I'm all in. Like, what do you need? Like, let's make this work." So it was just a paper appointment model, and that ended up being really good. So each month have just increased the number of appointments that I was booking for him. And then I was booking so many appointments. So I had two clients, right? But my family was getting so many appointments in a month that they couldn't keep up. Like, they couldn't hire people fast enough for all of these jobs. So they said, "Hey, like, we're just going to stop advertising." And so that was like half my income. This is like overnight, or this is like April. And so just freaked out, like, what am I going to do? I have no idea like how to get clients, then just go around and like cold call people, or like door knock, or I wasn't really sure like how. I need another client like in the next like 30 days. And so like, what was I going to do to make this keep going, right? So that I didn't have to go get like a regular job. I could just keep doing this. And so I ended up finding one of your ads on Instagram, Derek. And so I reached out to you and I said, hey, like, I
Oh,
don't know how to do this. I
I
know how to book
remember that.
appointments for roofers, but like, I don't know the next steps here. And so you helped me and craft an offer and saying like, okay, well, what's working as roofers, like that's making money. Like, how do we get more roofers? So you helped me explore like different offers and kind of explain what was competitive, what other marketers were offering them. So I tried a lot of things that didn't work. I tried a few things that did work. And so just now we've gotten to the point where I have, I think probably about 17 clients now. Like things are going pretty well. And so it's a mix of different offers. And so there's, overall it's been great. So each month I keep booking more appointments for my clients. My number of clients grows. Like it's going pretty well. So now I have a little team. With your help on that, I have two setters that are working full time, and so that's great. Where I'm not as involved in the day to day, but I can just kind of focus more on running the business, which is what I wanted to accomplish.
Love that, man.
Yep.
And I'm happy that we're able to achieve something that you wanted to accomplish. Going off of that,
Mhm.
right before this, actually, I went through your initial form that you wrote out when you first joined the program.
No,
And
okay. Yeah.
I went to the goal section to see
Cool.
what your
Yeah.
goal was to see if we accomplished that.
Right.
And I saw one of the questions was, what was your goal for your goal revenue by the end of this
Okay.
year? And obviously, we're not the end of the year yet.
Sure. Sure.
But you written down you wanted 35K a month by the end of the
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. That's true.
And I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember that, but I was like, oh,
No,
that's crazy.
yeah, but it has definitely surpassed that since. And
Yeah.
so that has definitely exceeded my expectations. Yeah, so that's been really good.
No, I'm happy for that. And happy
Yeah.
for you, man. We hit a new record month
Thank you.
of 47K, I believe.
Yeah, it was 47,880.
You got that
So yeah,
memorized.
it was pretty good. So there's a lot of expenses with that came about.
Of course.
So but overall, like that's been really good. Where now there's a lot of things that I try different each month. Like I try
Testing.
experiment with and so there's a few ways now that like expenses I can strip down, but overall like that revenue is going to continue to grow, and I'm going to become more profitable over time and figuring out where more money is coming from on a recurring basis. So
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah. Really proud of you,
Yeah.
man, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. This
You've
is
grown a lot throughout the program. You are a different Phil than you were when we
oh,
first initially talked, but at the
thank you,
same
Derek.
time, the
Yeah.
same Phil.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Yeah. It's
you
been
gain a lot of skills, a lot of attributes that I would like to say that you kind of just learned, but there's lots of times where you have to learn it, right?
yeah.
Something bad happens and that has to happen for you to really know and understand, like, okay, I can't go through this wall unless I fit through this triangle as a triangle. I can't
Yeah.
just keep trying to squeeze in as a square, as a circle. And like, I've gone through that a lot. Now, I would like to talk about a
Mhm.
little bit more of what we have plans for the future and how we're going to
Sure.
keep scaling you up,
Sure. Yeah.
like even beyond 50, like going to
Yeah.
100K. Before
Yeah.
we get into that, though, I think it's very important that we actually step back a little bit
Okay.
and kind of think about how we're living in the goal that we initially had planned. Because
Okay.
I, in the past, would not do that enough. And I always, on these kinds of conversations, would like to congratulate you guys for that. At the same time, have you reconnect or remember Phil a couple of months ago was
Yeah.
struggling and he wanted to hit
Yeah.
35K, as we know. And we've
Yeah.
not just hit 35K,
Yeah.
we've gone beyond that. But I
Yeah.
guarantee you, we probably have not given us the moment to really celebrate that as past Phil would have. And I think after this call, give yourself that moment. Get you deserve it. Obviously, once that's done, we're back to work. But it's
Yeah.
important that we celebrate our wins. Otherwise, it's not a win at all. And lots of people struggle to not even hit 30K, much less 50, much less hit like over 10K a month. Now,
Yeah.
there are a lot of people that are looking to get into, you mentioned earlier, roofing being a saturated niche, but
Yeah.
somehow you broke through that. What do you think was the thing that really helped you break through a saturated niche to like close to 50K a month?
Yeah, so like there's a lot there, Derek, and a few things
Yeah.
that I wanted to comment on. So when you say that I'm not the same person, then you're right. There has been a lot of growth. There's been a lot of difficulty over the past few months. Like that has not been an easy transition to get
Yeah.
there. And you've been a huge part of that. So there's been a lot of limiting beliefs that I had, and to circle back to your comment about that, that the my expectation on what I could do was that I could be successful in flooring because I tried it out
Yeah.
and I was good at it and I understood the
Yeah.
market, and that made a lot of sense to me. I really had to take a chance with a roofer where I knew that that was a very competitive industry and try it out and do a lot of things that didn't work until I figured out what did work. And so you really did open my eyes into what was possible with
Yeah.
with being able to meet a need in the market, right? So I didn't understand like what was a competitive offer in the space. And so you being able to provide that context and showing that others have been very successful doing it this way, that was really, it provided a lot more confidence. And I was able
Yeah.
to then kind of break through that, like my own beliefs about what was possible,
Yeah.
showing what could be done in that space was really helpful. So with roofers, there's there's a few things that made a difference. So understanding that the what was powerful about my offer and what was resonating, particularly around the call center,
Yeah.
that's made me a lot of money
Yeah.
from that alone. Then it's not the leads and it's not the quality of the leads, but it's understanding more what's important to the roofer. And so the end result and what they want is they want to get in front of a customer, right? So having the lowest priced leads is not really what they're interested in. They want ultimately to get in front of the customer. And so that value of being able to deliver them appointment that's qualified, that meets a certain criteria, that's a huge boost to their confidence in a marketing agency. So being able to provide that has been really good. Like that's and understanding that that's valuable and that that's a differentiating factor to just providing leads itself, because they're not gonna call them is what it comes down to.
They
They're not gonna
won't.
call them.
They won't.
They're not gonna
No.
follow up nearly as diligently as if
They won't.
you will if you're being paid per appointment, right? And
Yeah.
so understanding that made a lot of sense. It kind of broke down the problem into different parts that I was able to build better systems around to improve each month on being able to book better and better appointments and understand all the costs around that so that I could be more profitable with it and ultimately be able to pitch like a better, more competitive price on
Yeah.
on that. So
That's good. I like that.
yeah,
So you attribute a lot of it just being limiting beliefs holding you back,
yeah, for
and
sure.
not necessarily like never before heard of things. Like maybe some
Mhm.
things I've told you you've never heard of it, but I guarantee you some of the things that really broke you through that wall were things you kind of knew of or heard about, or were maybe even planning on doing.
Okay.
But just the fact that I said it and said, hey, this person's doing this and it worked
Mhm.
for him this way, and here's another example, gave you that confidence to just go through. You think that helped out a lot?
Yeah, that was very helpful for sure. Like there was a number of things that I said, I think you said early on where you had said, well, a natural progression with clients is that they usually getting a call center offer. So not just
Yeah.
taking not just booking appointments for them, but taking all of their calls. So it
Yeah.
frees them up to go work on their business. And so that's been really good recently in providing recurring revenue. And that dependable amount is what has really allowed me to confidently bring on more people into my team, knowing
Yeah.
that revenue is going to continue to be there. And the value that it's been to customers has been
Yep.
huge, right? So they have more time in their day, and to be able to sell them 10, 20 hours extra in their week where they can go do other things,
Yeah.
like that becomes
That's
super
money.
powerful when they get to that level in their business, that service becomes really useful for them. So that's been great. And so I didn't understand that until you told me it. I was like, oh my God, it
Yeah.
makes a ton of sense.
It makes
So
sense.
it
It
makes a
makes
lot of
sense.
sense, right?
It's
That
pretty simple.
yeah. So for a marketing company to not sell something that's exclusively like a marketing service and that this is a really useful add-on, like that helped me with that initial roofing client that I had. I'm now making so much more money from understanding that being able to provide not just quality appointments that they're going to and taking care of all that follow-up with it, but also taking all of their calls as well, and helping organize their business. So introducing some other tools that I have past experience in, like a
Yeah.
CRM, like working with videography teams, like that sort of past experience I was able to bring into the role. I think in you showing me that that's something that a client would pay huge money for, that they would find a lot of value, has contributed pretty greatly to that 47,000 that I made this month. So without that advice, I
Yeah.
don't. It would maybe I could have got there on my own, but it would have taken me so much
Yeah.
longer. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's usually like that. And I'm not gonna lie and say it's not like it is. That is how it is. Providing that confidence, providing these things. And I remember one thing I did tell you on our onboarding call a while ago. I
Mhm.
said, this is gonna be simpler than you think, but at the same time, it's gonna be harder than you think.
Yeah.
And I like to construct it like this. And to everyone else watching, if you think hitting 50K a month, or let's rephrase that, someone who's at 50K a month, you think they're doing a super complex thing. I truly think it's simpler than that. And then I honestly think it's even simpler than that. But at the same time, to hit that 50K or close to it, it's harder than you think. And if you think it's this hard, it's a little bit harder than that. At the same time, it's simpler. What do you think that's kind of something you went through and kind of agree with?
Uh, yeah, for sure. Like there's like my business at this time is a little complicated in that I'm offering like the three
Yeah.
different offers, and
Yeah.
probably two out of the three are going to work out so long
Yeah.
term. But yeah, so I did have this expectation that in order to run a 50K business, like 50,000 a month business, like there would be a lot more moving parts than there has been. So once I've gotten to the point now where like I can there can be less experimenting and just honing in on what works.
Yeah.
That's made things really simple, and being able to copy and paste the same type of service for the same client. So like as an example, being able to offer a call center to
Yeah.
different customers. So I have a handful of them now that are paying just recurring revenue off of that service, and it's as simple to have one as it is to have five of
Yeah.
those types of clients. That it's really just a sub account and go high level. There's the same automations
Yeah.
basically. It's the
Same.
same setter with the same training. They
Yeah.
have the same script relatively. There may be slight tweaks in what the
Simple.
client offers, but it's super simple. And from the setter point of view, like the job is simple. It's just
Yeah.
they're answering the phone. There's the whisper that says what client it
Yeah.
is. They're just
Yeah.
following through the same information. There's the same go high level automations that just plug the appointment into the client's calendar, and that's it. So yeah, there's some moving parts around that, but once you've got it like honed, then
Yeah.
it's super simple just to keep scaling with that.
Yeah. That is. And the fact that you've hit like 47K with just you and a setter, that kind of came in late in the game. That's
Yeah,
pretty simple. Like
yeah,
it can't get more simpler than that. When I hit 50K, it was the same exact situation. It was me with like a setter, but like, I wouldn't even count it. It was like, it was me.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah,
I'm sure it's the same kind of feeling for you too. And you don't
yeah,
anticipate that. And we're
yeah,
at that 5 to 10, even 15K mark. We're thinking, all right, 50K, we have like this huge team, sales manager. And like, yes, that comes in play like later,
mhm,
100K a month plus kind of thing, when you have the volume needed for that. But it's, like I said, simpler than you think, but at the same time, harder than you can imagine.
yeah,
Because you have to be
yeah, of
consistent.
course.
If
Yeah,
you can't be consistent, it's not going to work out. If you just have to pick up a block, that's simple. But if you got to do that every single day, pick up that same block, some people are going to fail. Some people just don't have it. And I mean, I think you already proved that you have that consistency. That's there. And I want to talk a little bit more of what we have planned for the future. Because
yeah,
going off of that, we are still just a simple team. It's just you and a setter. And
yeah,
the things I have planned next are to make sure you get out of the closing completely,
yeah.
period.
That's the next step for me for sure. So
100%.
what I do now, like what my day looks like, is I still take on some fulfillment. Like I still need to be involved in billing, invoicing, like managing clients, that sort of thing. That's maybe 2 hours out of my day. But like today, I had 9 sales calls from my center. So I'm just like it's just back to back like sales
Yeah.
calls. And then the only time I get a break is if there's a no show. Like that's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
kind of it, which is great. Like
It's a good problem to have, but still a
I'm really
problem.
glad to be in this situation where that is one of my biggest problems is that I'm back to back meetings.
Yeah.
But on the point of the center like that, I that was a big mistake of mine early on. Like it definitely cost me time in that I did not follow your advice. I just said, "Oh, I can do this all myself because I'm trying to save money." And
Yeah.
so I just saw it as an expense, and I didn't realize how much more um, much more capability I guess I could have, like
Yeah.
as a business, like how much more I could do in a day if I was able to delegate task like setting. And so I held off on that for a really long time until it
Yeah.
was like you probably remember that when I first came on, I was like, oh, I have this trip I have to go to in August. I had to
Yeah.
take
I
two
remember
weeks
that.
off. I just need to get
Yeah.
the business like in a decent enough position. And I held off
Yeah.
until like 2 weeks before that trip before bringing on a setter. And I just got
Yeah.
really lucky that this guy ended up like working out. But
Yeah.
then afterwards, I had to really train him when I got back of like, no, like you got to do it this way. But
Yeah.
it allowed me, free me up to do so much more and be able to take on a lot. So now I have two setters, one that does like client fulfillment and the other that does just like books sales calls all day long. And so that's the next step there is get the sales process consistent enough that I could just plug in a closer to just take over those roles
Yeah.
and then I can really just start working on the business other than just whenever there's a no-show. So
Yeah. Because
yeah.
now you see, before you didn't see it, but now you see the value of what I call leverage, right? Of course, I believe that you can be better than that setter. And I 100% also agree that you can be better than this next closer that you'll be getting in, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean the revenue is going to be better
Yeah.
because there's leverage, right? You are a CEO. You should be working on the business, not in the business. That is the CEO's role and their job to do. You shouldn't be doing the setting. You shouldn't be doing the closing. You shouldn't honestly even be doing the sales managing, right?
Mhm.
I have that completely outsourced. I want you to have that as well. Now,
Mhm.
that's the front end being completely outsourced. The back ends, we apply that same exact logic. Now, due to the nature of like coaching and whatnot, sometimes you can't just do that. But for your specific service, there's really no reason at all why you can't be 100% outsourced from a
Mhm.
done for you marketing kind of agency where you're like having call centers. And I want you out of everything, even the going around billing people. You can get a VA for that and get someone for that. I want you out completely of the front end, out completely of the back end. And at that moment, yes, I'm not even gonna lie, you're going to be losing chunks of the pie.
Mhm.
But by doing so and doing it correctly, the pie itself is going to get bigger. And now, even though you're getting a smaller slice, which is still a pretty big slice, I'm not going to
Yeah.
lie, fortunately
Yeah.
for you, it's still going to be a huge, that one slice is going to be worth three pies that you
Right.
have like right now. And that's the leverage people kind of fail to see. I think you're starting to see that now. That's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
why
Absolutely.
businesses
Yeah.
today have boards of members and CEOs are kind of doing nothing, but they receive the most amount of money from the business.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you put it well that not being able to see the leverage opportunity of bringing in a center was something that that definitely cost me time. Like I was doing all of it for
Yeah.
myself and holding on to core responsibilities way too long. So had I done that sooner, I think that I would be a lot further along than I am now. So
Yeah, for sure. And like we learned the lesson and we got it out.
sure.
So what are the next things you're planning to
Oh,
do with that said?
yeah, so replace myself from the sales process. So just bring on a closer. I think I'm relatively close to that. There's some opportunities I think to offer a lot more services to the same types of customers. So I've identified that there's particularly around call centers, especially like there's a lot of really great opportunities that I think are going untapped. So particularly around like AI, I think there's a lot
Yeah.
that's going on there. I think there's some really innovative pieces that pairing that with some other tools, making like in doing in-house ads and things like that. There's a lot of really great AI tools that I think roofers can take advantage of, but making it simple enough that it's
Yeah.
not overwhelming to them. And there's been a lot of difficulty in doing that, of taking something as complicated as like AI and making it really simple for roofers. And I'd like to do a few like innovative things in that space, not just sell, a voice bot, a chat bot,
Yeah.
but provide a little bit more so that it is bringing them in more business and focusing on the lead generation side, but also focusing on the other side, which is freeing up their time. And so that's kind of where I'm looking to shift things. Is continue to work with roofers, but to offer them a lot more than I was before.
Yeah. AI is definitely the future and being able to condense knowledge, even not just AI, but just condensing people for your prospects and for your clients is a huge skill to learn. Earlier, even before we hopped on this, we were talking about AI receptionist, AI ads, and like I even showed you my AI ads that I myself
Yeah.
am trying to do. Like AI is definitely the future. There's a lot of things about it that we're trying to pioneer. Um, it's a new flashy thing, but once again, you're only able to control that once you have skill and attribute of like, all right, noticing AI is good and then noticing how to use it correctly. You can't just type in chat GPT and like, all right, get me to 100K a month. It doesn't work like that. You need to
Yeah.
have those skills, those CEO activities to really hone it in. And my question to you is, what do you think is the biggest skill you had or needed or you learned to bring you to where you're at right now?
Hmm. That's a good question. Hmm. I think just being personable. Like I do genuinely want to provide a lot of value to
Yeah.
roofers. And that's definitely helped in when I find like I establish a great relationship with a roofer, like they stick around forever, which is great.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want to do. It's really satisfying to me when they get a lot of value out of working with me. So really striving to provide that customer value, I think is an important attribute. I think I would say is a big contributor to getting to 47K, like 47,000K. Like you can definitely do that. Like I think if you just are really good at sales,
Yeah.
you can hit
You
that,
can.
and like you don't have to care about delivering to the
Yeah.
client. Like you could
No,
absolutely
I've
do
seen
that.
it. Yeah.
But I think that keeping customers around for a long time, like months and months and months, and
Hmm.
then continuing to want to pay you more and more each month is gonna you're gonna need to be focused on ensuring that they're getting great value. So
Yeah.
I think that's important. I would
Yeah.
say yeah, it's probably pretty key.
I think you had a really good answer with that, actually. I do believe that it is possible for people to hit 50K a month and not care about their clients and should be really good with
For sure.
sales. I know that because I've seen it not once, but multiple times to the point where they will quite literally just say like, "Oh, I don't even care. I am doing this." Like they say that, and 100% is possible. Now, what you did wasn't that. Now, obviously, they're not going to get it in a month like they might have done it because they're just delusional. They'll do
Yeah.
that. But what you have is different than them because every single time I've seen them scale up very quickly, just as fast as they've come up, they've gone down. I
Mm.
think
Yeah.
fulfillment and actual care for your clients is the biggest skill and tip I can give to people, agency owners that fortunately I think you had from the get go, right? There's people I have to like instill that into them, kind of show them like
Mm.
this is how business is. You can't be prioritizing money, you need to prioritize your clients. And once you do that, the money will follow. And that's something people aren't taught necessarily on like YouTube, other folks like coaches,
Yeah.
courses. They don't really push that as heavily as I think they should.
Yeah.
But I
Of
think
course.
that creates a big pitfall for people. Luckily, I don't think you were ever going in that direction. But I've seen that left and right, and it's an issue that's really big and prominent in the agency space. I'm sure you've been on lots of sales calls where
Sure.
people have told you I've been burnt in the past 7 times over, right? Like that's what happens, and it gets engineered from that kind of philosophy of people not caring about the space. And if anything, I'm just extremely happy that I've been able to help you provide value and help to other people. At the end of the day, that is my goal,
Yeah. Thank you.
right? I really do like that I feel like an extension of you, like I helped them in some way.
Yeah.
And I do believe
Yeah.
in your service fulfillment.
Yeah, thank you. So what is been really satisfying is to see the same clients stick around and then just come back and ask for more. Like, hey, what other things can we do together?
Yeah.
That's been really great. So when that happens, and I find relationships like that where each month I can bring new things to the table and say, like, hey, this is how we're going to change things, and how we can add an extra 10 meetings per month or another 15, or here's a new service. Like that's been really great. So that each
Yeah.
month we both continue to grow together, the client and I. So it's been really satisfying, and I enjoy closing deals. But I think that's in terms of where money has come from. It's by the same clients growing them more, has been a major contributor to that. I have a
Yeah.
lot more clients now that are paying like a little bit each
Yeah.
month, and I'm working to grow them. But it's mainly from core clients that
Mhm.
that I've just been able to offer them more and more each month. So
That's good. That's good. That's always a trait I see. The most successful businesses, as much as people like to hate on them, they provide the most value to people, and they can't hate on that. And it's just the truth. As long as you actually do that and do care about other people, that by itself will take you extremely far. And really happy you do have that ideology set in stone in your head. I personally had to learn that the hard way,
Yeah.
but hopefully some other people can learn from us and skip
Yeah.
that route entirely and just focus first on the client, focus on their well-being, focus on their success. And that in itself is the success of you and your agency. And I know we're coming up to the 30-minute mark, so I don't want to keep
Yeah.
you much longer. I do want to ask you one more question.
Mhm.
There are going to be people that are watching this
Mhm.
that are going to be on the edge of working with me or coming into the program or me helping them in any type of way. And they're probably on the edge. They're probably scared. They're probably thinking about something, been burned in the past, whatever it may be. There's always a reason. If you could tell them one thing, what would you tell them?
Yeah, I was super skeptical of you, Derek. I was
You're
super,
upfront about it.
super skeptical about, the ability to deliver. There was even times we were working together. I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is good
Yeah.
advice. And like every time you have been right about the advice that it's not things that I would have done, but that's also the reason that I wanted to work with you is that you knew how to do things that I had no idea how to do. And so things that didn't seem initially intuitive to me, over time ended up proving to be the right thing to do. So that surprised me. I'm really fortunate that I met you, that we worked together. I don't think that I would be in this position that I am now, where I have a business that continues to grow each month without the advice that you provided. So I think that was probably the biggest thing is that you really overcame that. The skepticism that I had was not warranted at all, right? So that's what I'd say.
No, it's okay. I appreciate that. And you're honest from the start. You said that. And always what goes through my head is these people will come in and have skepticism, which, like you said, could be unwarranted. But honestly, it can be warranted. I know people do go through the wrong people, the wrong agencies. I personally have myself. And
Yeah.
that 100% is warranted in my head. Now, people do always have the choice of just staying where they're at
Mhm.
or just making a change. If they keep doing the same things, what can they expect? The same outcome, right? If you want a different outcome, you're gonna make a different kind of decision. And I agree with everything you said fully. I appreciate all the nice kind words on that. Um, I think you definitely learned a lot of skills that brought you to where you're at. And if you already had those skills in the
Mhm.
beginning, I don't think we would have even worked together in the
Right.
first place. If
Yeah.
someone is struggling, that's because they're struggling with finding the right skills. They're struggling with something. People don't just have it all the time. Even if you do have it, someone needs to take it out of them or just bring them the confidence to go in that proper direction. And I think you did have a lot of it already. I mean, like you said earlier, right? Just that confidence, or maybe it's this new thing, or whatever it may be to push you in that right direction. And I think now you definitely have those skill sets.
Yep. Thanks. Yeah, appreciate it, Derek.
But yeah, man. Phil,
Cool.
I appreciate your time, man. Not going to
Appreciate
keep
you,
you much
Derek.
longer.
Yeah.
Besides that, I hope everyone found some value out of watching this. Hopefully you guys all make the jump, make your own agency, just do something, whatever it is, make sure it's impactful towards other people. You're not just running around scamming guys. That's all I care about. I'm going to have a lot of free stuff for you guys, a lot of value that I'm going to give your way. With that said, don't use it with the wrong intention. Use it to genuinely help people. And my actual real advice to you guys is if you keep that in mind, you will make money. If you genuinely help someone, you will make more money than you just prioritizing money. But other people first. And that's pretty much my last remark. Besides that, how'd you guys go?